Basically, the path it's been is build a portfolio of single family homes, launch my development company, and then start selling the single family homes to work as seed capital for larger developments. And have been very fortunate in just the happenstance of timing that I've been able to sell those and then establish qualified opportunity funds and invest in QOZ areas to take advantage of long-term tax benefits. So that's what we talked about briefly before. A lot of real estate tax planning can't be the next 6 months. It has to be, how does this factor into the next 5, 10, 15 years?
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. Today's guest, Chipp Naylon, is based out of Richmond, Virginia. He's a developer and has been a real estate investor over 15 years and founded Walutes Capital as a vehicle to open opportunities for others. He's also the author of The Investor's Guide to Real Estate Finance, Accounting, and Tax. Chipp, welcome to the show.
Dylan, thanks for having me. It's great being on.
It's great to have you. I always like to start off at the top of the show by asking guests how they got into the real estate space.
Yep. 30-second overview. Started in the Marine Corps, knew nothing about real estate, but had my VA loan. Bought a townhouse, wildly unprepared, didn't know what I was doing. Fast forward 9 years in the Marine Corps, my wife and I had bought portfolio single-family homes. As I transitioned out into the outside world, went back to school for another bachelor's and master's in accounting, got an asset management position at a big commercial real estate developer in Richmond, Virginia, worked there, and that's where I really cut my teeth in the commercial and multifamily world. After a couple of years there, got my CPA and decided to open Walutes Capital really as a vehicle, both for my own development work, but also to provide development, asset management, accounting services to real estate investors across the board.
I want to ask you about, if we can, being a CPA and coming out of the Marine Corps in that time period. Did you know that, hey, I'm going to go be a CPA. This is something that I'm passionate about. Did you have friends, family, or folks that you knew that were in that space? And what was the driving factor there?
A couple elements to that answer. First, no, I didn't know I was going to do that. But with the very casual investing on the side, realized I wanted to get into real estate full time. I just didn't know what full time real estate was. I wasn't interested in sales. I can barely turn in a light bulb, so construction probably wasn't the answer. But my dad's a financial planner, and hearing him talk about accounting as the language of business planted that seed. And I had GI Bill availability, so I decided I'll go back to school for accounting. And it just so happened that when I moved to Richmond after my time in the Marines, there was an asset management position open in an incredible company, development, property management, and construction all under one umbrella. And I just took in a fire hose of commercial real estate knowledge. And that's what kind of put me on the path. So long way around, no, accounting wasn't always the plan. It just made sense with the route I went after the Marine Corps.
You talk about accounting and so much in this space being the language of business, the more I get involved in real estate, the more I see how true this is. And we were talking before the show really about how in many cases you don't think, especially as a younger entrepreneur like myself, you don't think about things like tax strategy, like bookkeeping, until you need to. And in many cases that's too late. So then you're kind of like, well, darn, I should have thought about this.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
8 months or a year ago or longer. I want to pivot though, Chip, and ask you about when you were effectively cutting your teeth in that commercial space and learning the ropes. What types of deals were you involved in? Was this, commercial residential? Was it multi-use, commercial and apartment complexes? Was it across the board?
It was primarily historic tax credit investing in the predominantly mixed use space. So picture an old factory that's basically just the shell, syndicating a historic tax credit deal where it becomes something like ground floor commercial, retail, and then top floors residential. So that's predominantly what this firm did. So I like to consider the historic tax credit, and I am by no means an expert. These gentlemen I worked for were. It's kind of PhD level development work because it's additional compliance, syndication, legal that far surpasses most similar types of just, hey, see a deal and execute without that historic tax credit element to it. So it was fascinating seeing it.
When I think about this, Chip, there's actually an area. I lived in San Antonio, Texas, for about 4 or 5 years. There's an area in San Antonio called the Pearl, which was this old brewery that they effectively developed into what you're talking about, like ground floor retail restaurants, and then they had really sprawling apartments. And I'm now seeing this trend happen across the country as a way to keep a lot of the historic feel to areas. People don't want to lose touch with something that, their parents, grandparents, or the city may be able to relate to culturally, right? But also you're able to revitalize it in a way that brings more people to it rather than potentially sitting there as like distressed real estate.
That's right. And I'm sure there are exceptions, but most of these older buildings, without that additional tax incentive that's typically translated into upfront equity in these deals, they're typically cost prohibitive. So I see it as a win-win. You retain and revitalize historic architecture, and you incentivize private developers to take risks on that revitalization.
I want to pivot a bit here, Chip, ask you about your experience as a developer. So, you mentioned prior to this opportunity, you were investing. Were you investing in the single family space prior to?
Yeah. Prior to, basically the path it's been is build a portfolio of single family homes, launch my development company, and then start selling the single family homes to work as seed capital for larger developments. And have been very fortunate in just the happenstance of timing that I've been able to sell those and then establish qualified opportunity funds and invest in QOZ areas to take advantage of long-term tax benefits. So that's what we talked about briefly before. A lot of real estate tax planning can't be the next 6 months. It has to be, how does this factor into the next 5, 10, 15 years? So that's big picture. What I've been focusing on is getting rid of the single family homes, rolling the sale proceeds and the capital gains into qualified opportunity funds, and then developing within that framework. And that defers the recognition of the initial taxes. And then if you hold them for 10 years and sell it, you get a full step up in basis, and you're basically getting a tax-free deal on the back end.
As a developer, are you developing, single family residential subdivisions? Are you looking at commercial deals? Is it a mix?
It's a mix because I
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
some people can do it. I did not consider myself the guy who could write a book saying invest with $0. I believe investing and developing real estate far easier if you actually have money. So I've been fortunate that we have some cash that's been rolled from these single family sales. That means we can self-finance deals. By we, my wife and I. That lets me take target opportunities because I don't have to say, what are these investor minimum required returns? What sort of asset class is this investment group looking for? If I see a deal that makes sense, I can focus on that deal. And that lets me keep my time. So half my field development on my own, the other half, that's when I do the client consultations, fee only development service. But for my own development portfolio, it's really targeted opportunities and what seems like an interesting deal and what I see as something that's ultimately going to give me more of my time and financial and freedom in the long run, which is ultimately what I'm looking for from real estate.
Can we get a little granular and talk about some of these deals that you've looked at with Walutes Capital?
Yeah. So I sold in April, and that's what I've rolled proceeds into another QOF. But the one I sold in April, bought in fall 2022. It was 2 infill parcels in western Richmond, Henrico County, in a more expensive part of town that, due to the quirks of the census designations, like a little postage stamp of it of infill development, fell under a QOZ. So it was a front parcel that had just a single family home zoned as an office, and a rear parcel that was infill in an expensive area that was a pretty unique piece of land. And I spent a couple of years entitling that to build 20 townhouses. And the initial, so 2 rows of 10. The initial plan when I bought in 2022 was a build to rent deal. And
Nice.
then when interest rates nearly triple from when I bought to when I finally have approved permits, I realized from a pro forma perspective, build to rent doesn't work anymore. So I ended up selling it as an entitled shovel ready parcel to a home builder who was going to do a build to sale. So that was a good example of, hey, uh, we can't control macroeconomic trends. What
Yep.
was a good deal in 2022, by the time I permitted it in 2025, the numbers had changed. But
Yep.
still had cash tied up in the deal, pivoted to selling to a home builder and came out making a little money and then rolled that to the next deal.
So basically, these were shovel ready properties, and the builder went from there and put the homes on them.
That's right. So thought process being, I bought vacant, unentitled land, received full entitlements, construction permits, so that the builder just said, I'm buying this, and I start construction. So it takes that 1, 2, 3 years of entitlement timeline out of the build process. They could close and begin construction a couple months later.
Did you keep tabs on that property? Do you know what they ended up doing with it?
Yeah, they invited me to the groundbreaking, which was very cool. They ended up using our county, Henrico has a affordable housing trust program that's been fed by real estate taxes from data centers. So they're actually putting AMI capped affordable houses into an otherwise cost prohibitive area, which is awesome to see. So now local cops, teachers, firefighters can
Yeah.
buy a place and they're working where otherwise they couldn't. So it's been very cool to keep that relationship and see those guys get across the finish line.
That's a really important thing to be happening in our country. When we talk about people who work in a specific area not being able to live in that area, that's kind of ridiculous that this happens in so many places, right? So I'm glad to see that in this case, they're addressing that. Do you think that that's going to be more common in other areas?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
I think this is a model. So at the groundbreaking, one of the Virginia U.S. senators came because they wanted to highlight it that much, that this could be a very collaborative public-private model to incentivize affordable housing. Because from a numbers perspective, you can't buy or build starter homes in this country. It's just between interest rates, costs of construction materials and construction labor, plus land throughout the country, you can't build a starter home. So when you have collaboration between the private sector and some sort of grants to offset a lot of these construction costs, you can make something so that it's 80, 100, 120% AMI capped. So people who work in an expensive area can still live there.
I want
So
to
I think this model will be replicated. Please.
I want to ask you about some of the investors that you've worked with. I know that you do several things with the Walutes Capital, and I imagine that folks see what you're doing and they may be asking you questions. How can I do something similar? Do you get a lot of folks who may be newer developers coming to you? Do you get more experienced developers? Is it a mix across the board in your consulting services?
A mix across the board. People who are looking for an hourly consultation, typically that's someone like, hey, I just bought a rental property. What's depreciation? People who reach out to me separately with more of a project basis, a lot of the work that I do, and the nice thing about this, I can do it across the country, is deal underwriting. So a larger multifamily developer will say, Chip, I need a hand with the pro forma development and just recurring deal underwriting as opportunities come across the plate. And sitting in Richmond, Virginia, or anywhere in the world, I can do that. With third-party development services, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to travel all over the country. So with deal underwriting, it's typically more mid to larger developers who can afford to pay somebody else to underwrite their deals. For your average single-family home rental questions, that's anywhere from somebody interested in getting into it to have a portfolio of a half dozen places, but just you need some guidance on expanding or a specific tax question.
I want to say it's impressive that you're able to operate in these spaces. Normally when I'm talking to folks like yourself, they've narrowed in on one niche, and it can be difficult to be active in the others. But you've got such a diverse range of experience that we're talking about like single family. You're talking about shovel ready land, but you're also talking about underwriting commercial deals in other states. So my hat goes off to you for being able to play ball in these different arenas.
Yeah, Dylan, I didn't say I was good at it. I get interested in a lot of things, and just due to happenstance, my background has led to this ability to, through both my own professional or personal background, working for a big commercial real estate company in Richmond, and each client that reaches out, and I end up doing some underwriting. I learn about a different tax strategy. Had a developer in Los Angeles doing large LIHTC multifamily. Had never done it, but it forces me to research and learn how to build and model a new deal. And I find that interesting. I don't want to get into a rut. And each time I have a new client, it might be a new strategy, new asset class. It forces me to dig into the weeds, do the research, and become a subject matter expert on it.
We are coming up on time here. I do want to ask you a question specifically about Virginia real estate. I mentioned to you before hopping on the show here, we've had a couple guests from Virginia. I'd like to have more. I'm sure that there's a lot of interest in Virginia in general, but maybe it's new to me or maybe new to some of our audience members. Are you seeing like lots of new construction go up? I know there's new construction all across the country. Are you seeing a lot of out of state investors looking at Virginia?
A massive amount. Northern Virginia is its own area, and it's almost recession-proof. Although ironic saying this right now, federal government closed, but there's so much federal money in Northern Virginia that it's nearly recession-proof. In Central Virginia, in Richmond, where I am, it's a state capital, so a lot of government service here, massive education sector, and there's just a stunning amount of multifamily coming up with, I think, pretty strong absorption still. And that's a product of, I think, I love the town of Richmond, so I'm bullish on it, but I think reality is bullish on it as well.
Well, that's great to hear. I'm definitely going to have to look at some more deals in Richmond and in Virginia myself, and hopefully our audience will, if they're not already looking at it, we'll take a look at it. Chipp, we are coming up on time here. Where can folks go to reach out to you? How can folks learn more about Walutes Capital?
Best bet, walutescapital.com. There's a contact us function. If you want to book a consultation, just any random topics, happy to do that. Listed the book for sale there too. So there's a quick link to Amazon from the website. But best bet if you want to contact me is through the website, walutescapital.com.
Chipp, thank you so much for coming on the show here today.
Thanks, Dylan. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.